Hi guys. So today we're gonna talk about the market update. We took a couple of months without doing any content, and now we're back. But the first video of this year, I want to talk a little bit more about the market, right? Because I have some sellers and buyers and clients in general that they keep asking me, Lorena, what type of market we are right now, right? Sellers market or buyers market, and sometimes it's not just as simple and just one answer, right? There is more to explain about that, and I usually tell you like right away, oh, we're in buyers market, we're in a sellers market, but this is not the case. So let me just break down a little bit more about this and what it means, right? What is the reality and how we interpret it, right? So right now what we're seeing is that buyers have way more power, like they have no, well, maybe no power, but they have more opportunity, right? So to negotiate price, to negotiate closing costs. And of course, sellers, based on all the houses that we have right now, they have to be willing, to negotiate and give incentives to buyers. But I can also say that this is not a normal, typical market, right? So if we go by the numbers, just to do a math, like we usually call this absorption rate or the months of supplies that we have according to the demand. And what we do is that we take the sales of a specific months and then we do a formula to calculate how many months we have to supply the demand. So in this, let's just to put like an example, like if we say that we have had 1,000 sales and then we have 7,000 properties for sale, that means that we have 7 months of supply, which will indicate that we're kind of like in a healthy market, like in a buyer's market, right? Right now the numbers are quite different, right? So the numbers, we usually in my channel and in my social media, we usually do the market update every 25th of every month and every 10th of every month. So right now we're doing January 10, and that's from December 25th to January 10. And what we have is that for single family homes, we have 650 sales. For condos, I think I have the numbers here, we have like around 200 sales. Versus the active listings, the properties that we have for sale, we have almost 6,500 properties for sale, and we have almost 1,500 condos and townhouses for sale. So if we do the math, we can say, well, let's go by the numbers, and we can say that we have more than 6 months of supply. So we're in a buyer's market, right? But what I want to say, that's not normal. This is not a typical market for, in the last years. Like the typical market right now is between 2,500 to 3,000 sales per month. And if we have 7,000 listings on the market, that means that we have had 2 months or 3 months of supply, and that's it, right? And that will mean that we are in a seller's market. But another thing that I wanted to say is that according to economics that they study the market and all that, they are still saying, even with the 6,500 properties that we have for sale right now, they are still saying we are still in a seller's market because there is still a shortage of houses. Like, and this all goes back to 2008, 2010, when we had the recession, and a lot of builders, they stopped building the numbers of properties that they were supposed to build to supply the demand, right? So that's why, based on the studies, they are still saying we're still in a seller's market because there are not enough listings to cover all that demand. The thing here is that we also had, the increase of the interest rate that happened last year, starting September. You all know, right, that the Fed decided to increase the interest rate, the mortgage interest rate, because of the high inflation, right? So, and that's an economic measure that they have to do in order to put control to inflation. And inflation, it goes very like on hand with the interest rate, with the mortgage interest rate. So the last report right now, it says that we are like around 6% of inflation versus the 9% that we were. So it's getting better. So that also means that in the next months, it could happen that we're going to have a decrease in the interest rate, in the mortgage interest rate, right? So that also means that a lot of buyers, they are not qualifying for the same amount that they used to qualify before, right? So when the interest rates increases, that reduces the buyer's purchase power, right? So that to also to get to that medium price that we had before, right? So it's higher, and also the monthly payment is higher as well. So, and I also want to say that, I mean, in history, in the last 30 years of the mortgage history, the interest rate has been 8%. So a lot of people, they get really worried about, oh my God, like 6 and 7%. But well, I think, for example, coming from the country that I am, that is Latin America, like there, if you want to buy a house, it's like 10%, right? So, but I understand that a lot of people, they don't think, right, like on that same way, and they say, no, I'm gonna wait. But let me tell you something, like if you're a first-time home buyer, you really need to think this about, because right now you have a lot of opportunity. You can get a very, very good deal in price, in terms. And as I always say, you marry the house and you date the rate. The rate is temporary. It's gonna be there just for a couple of months or years until the interest rate goes down. As I already said, there is an expectation that it's gonna go down because inflation is also going down. So then you can refinance, right? Refinance. So it's not something that you are gonna stick forever, versus people that they bought at a certain amount when the market was high. That's the debt, and they bought with 3-4%. And I mean, it's to expect the interest rate to go be lower than 3% and 4% is a little, not realistic. I don't know if we're gonna have less than 3% soon, but they have that, like that's the terms, that's the price, that's the interest rate. But in your case, you can take advantage right now to get the house that you have been wanting for a while, in the neighborhood that you have been wanting for a while, and negotiate and get a good deal, and just stay with that rate for a while, and then you refinance in the future. I'm gonna be making another video about 2 new programs that we have right now for people that they're kind of like a little irregular. So we have one that is just with verification of employment, no taxes, nothing like that. And we have another one that is with a PMI, that is more like a statement that you do of your income versus your expenses for your business. We have another loan for that one. So I'm gonna be making another video for that. But going back to the market updates, so again, that explains a little bit why we don't have the same amount of sales these last months, right? So we have the interest rate that had a big impact on the buyer's demand, and that's why a lot of houses, they have been sitting on the market. So this means a lot on the position that you have, right? So if you're a seller, this means that, okay, if you need your house to get sold, price is going to be number one thing. So you have to price your property correctly. You have to take into account comps that sales that have been happening during the last 90 days. You cannot go 180 days back as we used to do it before, right? Because the market has changed so much that you have to try to stick with what is really recent, right? So, and also number 2 is going to be the marketing, right? So you should hire an expert, you should hire a realtor, right? That knows how to market your property in social media, in Google, in YouTube, in all the aspects, open houses and all that. So, and I do have a lot of experience with that, so I'll be more than happy to help you. But and also, if you are a buyer, what I want to say is that, of course, so this is the moment that we need to sit down, right? And we need to look at the areas and see what areas have been moving, that they have that price adjusted already, that those price drops, so that okay, this neighborhood already had this appreciation. So when springtime comes back, you are gonna see maybe those prices again at that point. So that neighborhood already showed that it appraised, right? So versus a neighborhood that doesn't have any it hasn't had any activity, and that it hasn't had those price drops, those price adjustments, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, right? So we can focus on those areas that there are more activity, that there is more activity, and we go from there, right? So again, I have a couple of programs for different type of people, and I also have the rent to own program. That is a program that we have been promoting a lot because it's really good. It's a program that lets you rent the property for up to 5 years. I always say a straight instead of a straight rental, consider rent with an option to buy, because at least you have the certainty that you can live there for at least 5 years. You can buy at any point. Versus a lease agreement that I just signed right now. I don't know what is going to happen next year. I don't know if they're going to increase the rent or if they're going to tell me you gotta go because we're going to sell the property, right? So that's a program that I really recommend. So anyway, so that's the video that I have for you today. I'm going to be making the other videos about the new programs that we have for buyers. And you have my information here in YouTube, my website, yourclarkani.com. And yes, please feel free to reach out. Thank you. Bye.